Hey guys, I think I've got this part of it now. I'm just not having any luck with StreamYard or Melon, and it's this damn iPhone that I have. I'll give y'all a couple of minutes to make it back. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to talk a little bit about Oakley. Today, we never get to talk about Oakley. She kind of got lost in the shuffle of everything yesterday. Um, I don't think anybody reported on her story yesterday because of all the Jose nonsense. Can y'all hear me now? I hope so. I think I got it this time. No, it says that my sound is on. Wonderful, you can hear me. Great. Okay, she kind of got lost in the shuffle yesterday of with all the Jose stuff going on. And there was a little bit of some news that moved in Oakley's case yesterday. Two major things happened. Um, the first major thing that happened is her dad pled guilty to two charges. Now, they are unrelated to Oakley, they are related to her sister. But he pled to the substance abuse charges and to child endangerment. Now, that is going to hold him in that jail cell. That's going to hold him there. Now, a criminal profiler come into play, and he feels, with the information that he has, and with the fact that both of the parents are known meth users, and they are willing to sit in jail and not say a word, he feels that Oakley is still alive, and he has taken $10,000 of his own money and has put up for any information pertaining to her whereabouts or anything for any sort of proof of life. He strongly believes that she is still alive out there in the meth world somewhere. So that was two major things that come into play yesterday. And this was a really well-known criminal profiler. And he was just adamant that he felt like she was still alive. And he was like, you know, when a child is kidnapped, her things aren't packed up and just moved with them, with the kidnapper, or abducted. Let me use the proper terminology there. Um, and he strongly feels that she's still there and with us. Um, the Evelyn Boswell case started moving today. And Megan Boswell's attorneys spent the whole day trying to keep certain photographs out of the hands of the jury. They're trying to seal those off. They don't want the jury to seal certain photographs, certain text messages, certain audio, certain social media. There was thousands, and this is going to come into play in the Summer Wells case, because they had thousands of social media posts from the Evelyn Boswell case. They had thousands of audio files. They had thousands of photographs. They had thousands of hours of, you just wouldn't believe the piles of evidence that they were trying to keep away from the jury, because they thought that it was going to trigger an emotional response with the jury before they could even look at the evidence, because they were afraid that the jury was going to rule against her just on that emotional response when it come trial date. Because along with the words slip in my mind, the autopsy results, the evidence is going to be overwhelming against Megan. And from a lawyer's point of view, I would hate to have Megan for a client, and I would hate to have her case, because I'm sure that is going to be just an overwhelming case to try to defend. That is going to be horrifying to try to defend what she done to that child. And can you imagine what the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations has as far as not just photographic evidence, but audio files, social media files, and all this stuff that even the Wells thinks that they don't have in Summer Wells' case. And could you imagine just the audio files and the social media files that they have in that case? Oh boy. And I tell y'all something else, and you probably heard it come out of my own mouth, that I didn't trust Jody Sue Brown. That I thought that she somehow was guilty, that she somehow was associated with this mess. But I am starting to think that she might be the only sane one in this case, that she might be the only sane one in this bunch. And that's the truth. She may have her issues, but compared to the rest that is associated with this bunch of people, oh my goodness. At one time I thought that may have been her that was in the truck with Candace that day. But I am 99% sure that I was wrong about that now. I do not think that was her in the truck with Candace when Summer was laying on the milk. I'm 99% positive that I know who it was that day, and I know who it was not, and it was not Jody Sue. But I am really starting to believe exactly what I just said. Mark my word. And she is not, I tell you, I don't think any woman is responsible for anything that their exes do or what their husbands do. I don't know what any of that garbage is. But all this Jose garbage is exactly that. It is garbage. I did a live stream on that early this morning by accident. I am going to have to go a different route here because I've got to plug my phone up. I hope y'all can still hear me. But I accidentally deleted that live. I was having problems with it uploading. And I was trying to get it to upload. And I accidentally hit the delete button. Well, his hero mentality, what he says happened the night of the fight, does not match up with what the police report states. He said the police officer said that he was a coherent drunk. Coherent means that you can still walk, talk, and function. The police report said that Don could not even stand up, that he was falling down on the ground. So that means that he could not walk, talk, or function. So, right off the bat is a major discrepancy. And think back to when Chris McDonough took us to the house and he was talking to Candace about you need a zoo license. And Candace is taking kittens and she's throwing them out the door, right? And Kittens is landing out the door with the same dogs that was there when Summer disappeared, right? Very small kittens. If those dogs did not respond to those small kittens and tear those kittens apart that day, they would not have responded to immediately doing to a kitten what he described happened when Don threw a kitten out the door before that. For some reason, whoever has conned this man into coming forward wants this situation to appear a lot worse than what it is. for Candace as far as Dawn's controlling, Dawn's mistreatment. Like she has battered women syndrome. So when all this goes to court, she can say, well, look at me, I'm battered. When for 9 months now, we have seen that it goes both ways in that house. That the abuse is dished out in both directions. We have seen her and him both divvy it out both ways. Now, I have talked to people that says what he's telling about Summer wandering off behind the meth houses and down the trails and back down the other way through the woods is not factual. The neighbors know of her going to the bottom of the driveway one time. The neighbors are disputing what he is saying. And I believe it because here's why. TBI has gave us two options. A, foul play is involved. Or B, she's wandered off. And if B, she's wandered off, more than likely we would have found her by now. Especially after this last flood. So, it looks a whole lot better on Candace if she can bring some witnesses forward of some kind, and it does not matter of what type, as long as she can produce somebody that can say, hey, I lived there, and yes, that child wandered off. Are you catching what I'm throwing out there? This could possibly be somebody, or even Jose, that the Mullen camp has hired to come forward to keep neglect charges down off of Candace. And that is not bringing justice for Summer at all. Now, he did have some negative things to say about Candace. And of course he did, because if he just comes forward and floods us all with all just purely wonderful things to say, we would have flagged it right off the bat. And we would have all caught it right off the bat. And we would have said, no, there's something wrong with this. So he had to throw in a few negatives with all the good. Just like he said, and he really had to push this point because just days before, everybody, and it was being talked about all over YouTube, about how she was getting on her lives and drinking and carrying on and wouldn't talk about Summer and everything. And he was really driving his points across about, oh, well, this is not the woman that I know. The woman I'm seeing on these lives, that's not real. That's not the Candace that I know. This is not the woman that I know. And this is my plea to her. This is not the Candace that I know. Y'all just don't know the Candace that I know. Now, he said something about his phone being 3,000 miles out in the ocean. Why would that be if all he had to do was take out the SIM card and snap it and turn the phone off? I can tell you what I think why the phone would be out in the middle of the ocean. But it's just my opinion. And that's in case somebody says, hey, Jose, you got any pictures of when you was living at Candace's? You got any pictures of the kids? You got any pictures of Summer? No. I don't have any receipts for you guys to show you any of this. I don't have any proof because my phone is 3,000 miles away in the ocean. Are you feeling what I'm putting out for y'all? Are you hearing me? Because I'm trying to be really real with you. I'm trying to be as real, down to earth, person to person, as I can be. Because I can tell you, I don't hardly make any money on YouTube. Check Social Blade. I'm just calling them like I see them. Why didn't he call the TBI before he done the interview? And shame on Justin too for not calling the TBI before the interview, not after. Before. And before he doxed True and Hunter about their extracurricular activities or being SA'd or R'd. Both of those kids have to live in that community, and both of those kids, well, let's start with Allison is supposed to be his friend. And why he would do her children like that or why he would do her like that, I don't know. But let me tell you, if that was my kids, I better have an investigator knock on my door and tell me that that had happened to my kids before I heard it on YouTube. That's what better happen. Because I would be livid if I heard that any of that happened to my kids on social media and an investigator hadn't come knocked on my door yet. And why he would tell something like that on YouTube, because both of those kids have to live in that community, and that could cause either one of those kids to take their lives or something. You don't know what telling something like that could do to either one of those kids. Shame on him and shame on Justin for putting that out there. That could have even been bleeped out. That could have been, that was wrong. That was wrong. Those are teenage kids that's already got plenty of problems. And look, Hunter, it seems like already had a boatload of problems. He's already not allowed to live at home. And whatever he did or did not do, in the Summer Wells case, he was put in that situation by a grown adult because he was 15 years old. Y'all remember that. He was 15 years old. He was given drugs and alcohol by a grown adult. He was 15 years old. Whatever happens with this case, y'all remember that little boy was not even a man yet. And that's the truth. And again, that's just real. And I can tell just by listening and watching and looking through this true crime community and the way people are and the way people respond to things, I can tell a lot of y'all have not, and I'm not talking to any of you particularly in this chat, I'm talking about the community as a whole, has never lost a child to anything. Whether it be death, jail, drugs, mental disease. And I'm telling you, losing a child is hard. That's the hardest thing anybody will have to deal with ever in their life. And that young man was 15 years old. And Justin should have never let Jose put that out there. And that young lady too, I don't know how old she is, Allison's girl, but she can't be too much older than Hunter. And it's hard being a young woman in this society. And then being associated with even being in that house, having relations with anybody, being accused of having relations with anybody in that house. She's going to be ridiculed in that community. Whether it really happened or whether it really never did happen. Y'all feel me? Because see, when it's a man, that makes him, or a boy, that makes him a big bad man. But when it's a girl, oh, she ain't nothing but a... That girl's cheat, that girl's this, that girl's that. And that's how us women are talked about. We're the lowest thing on the totem pole. But when it's a boy, it's, oh look, he scored with an older woman. Look at him, yay! Check him out. And I feel bad for that young lady. I do. I feel horrible for her. Y'all think about that. And how she must feel. That was low. That was low. And then Jose calls Allie his friend. Friends like that, you don't need very many enemies, do you? That's horrible. That's horrible. I quit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't listen to much more to interview past that right there because that was stomach turning to me. And I couldn't believe that they let the interview continue to go. And I couldn't believe that people stayed in the chat with their ear glued to see what else they could hear. And you know the biggest thing that I found out from the whole thing? That none of it pertained to finding Summer Wells. I did not find one piece of useful information in all of it that pertained to helping us find Summer. And that was sad. And then I posted yesterday about Oakley Carlson. And I posted that her dad had pled guilty to the 2 charges that would keep him in jail. And it had got 22 views since early yesterday morning. She was completely overlooked all day yesterday. Because everybody was clicking on links to hear what this man had to say that did not pertain to finding Summer Wells. Then I posted about Evelyn and Michael. Michael got a few more views than Oakley did because I guess, there's been a little bit more drama in his community. But I did not post anything negative, but I did post about Brandy telling about the search dogs looking for Michael. But 3 other children all put together. All put together. did not get the views as just a post about two teenage children being essayed. The only takeaway that I got from that was Jose did let it slip that it was Candace's stepson. Now, does that mean that Don has another family there in Rogersville? Does that mean that he has got a stepson that lives locally? Because if that's so, we need to know who that particular family is. Is there a reason why we've not been told about that? Is that possibly somewhere where we might need to be looking for Summer? Or is the rumors true and was Don Jr. hanging in and out around Rogersville at that time? Because I have heard rumors since the beginning that Don Jr. had been around about the time that Summer come up gone. But we're talking, that was many, 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 many months before Summer come up gone that this had happened. So, when Jose said Candace's stepson, I would like a little more information than that. But when I ask, nobody is willing to answer me. And this is information that I am seeking. So if anybody knows this information, I would like to have it. Good morning. How are you? I would like to make that go viral. Who is Don's stepson in Rogersville? Who was Candace's stepson? I'm sorry. Who was Candace's stepson in Rogersville during September or October of 2020? That was one Freudian slip that he let go that nobody else caught, that I caught, that we need to find out about. If he's got another family around Tennessee, we definitely need to know about that. And if Don Jr. was around, he certainly got a record for it. So, definitely need to check into that. But shaming those children on YouTube, knowing that 15, 16-year-old kids watch YouTube and they are probably being humiliated all over that little small town there. Unforgivable. Unforgivable. And if I was Allison, I would be livid. I would be so mad. And back to what I was telling you guys is, once that evidence is tampered with like that, and it should have been handed to the TBI first, but once it's out here on the internet first, and then it's handed to the authorities, it's basically not worth having. It's not, they can't do anything with it in court. It's tainted evidence. It's tainted in a jury pool. And I believe that that's what they're doing, is they are tainting the evidence. They're tainting the jury pool. It's just unbelievable. Um, you ask him, well, do you have any social media, posts of you being in Rogersville, pictures of the kids or anything? Nope, sure don't. I deleted all every piece of social media I had, and I just opened my social media day before yesterday. I threw my phone at the bottom of the ocean with all my pictures on it. So he absolutely has not one receipt for anything. Nothing. And somebody with absolutely no receipts, I mean, you can educate anybody on what's going on YouTube. But I'm like, show me some receipts. I can't. I had deleted all my social media and I threw my phone to the bottom of the ocean. Y'all feel me? This just feels like Tim Mullins and Benny Keys to me. And that way TBI cannot charge Candace and Don with neglect, because they've got somebody here saying, well, I lived with them. I've seen her wander off. Did y'all not hear him even throw in, well, if she needs somebody to go to court, hey, I'm it. It's me. I'll go to court with her. Did y'all not hear him throw that in too? Because she had two options. TBI gave her two options. It was either foul play was involved or the child wandered off. And if the child wandered off with no shoes on, we would have done found her by now, especially after the last flood when the water brought everything up off the mountain. A fire was started over on the next mountain over after the flood where they could burn everything off, a controlled fire. That way they could see everything that the flood had brought up, right? The kid's still not found. So guess what that leaves? That leaves foul play unless you can prove that the kid wandered off. Well, bam, now you have got somebody that has been living off the grid, hidden for months. You've got somebody that pops up that says, hey, here I am. I was there. She wandered off a bunch of times. If you need somebody to go to court with you, I'm here. But do I have any receipts to prove anything? No, I sure don't. I don't even have one social media post to show that I was in Rogersville for 6 months. I sure don't. I shut down all my social media. I can't even prove it by a phone or a phone ping, because you know what? My phone's laying in the bottom of the ocean. Are y'all feeling me? Do y'all feel what I am laying down here? And I'm not just saying this as a regular. I was a paramedic for 25 years. Not only a paramedic, search and rescue, y'all. Look at his face. Do I look like I fell off the truck yesterday? I can keep going with about 20 other discrepancies that I found in what he said, and the reason I feel like this is just got messing with evidence and twisting crap all over it, and that it come from the Mullins camp. Good morning, hon. Written all over it. But I have got surgery this morning, and I've got to leave at about 11 o'clock. I've got a back surgery. And I need to lay down and rest just a couple of hours. So please, ask yourself, what did he say that is really going to help us find Summer Wells? Nothing. Nothing. And then take your energy and focus it on finding Summer, finding Oakley, justice for Evelyn. Lena's still missing. Michael's still missing. Let's get back on track. This man is nothing but a distraction for all of us. And you know what? If you quit clicking the links, the creators will get the message. Really. I love you. I love all my subs. And I want to find Summer. I want to find Michael. I want to find Lena. I want to find Oakley. And I want justice for Evelyn. There's nothing in that interview that's going to help us find Summer. The only thing in that interview is it's set up to help free Candace. Is the only hashtag that Jose is going to be carrying. I promise you that. He says, you need somebody to go to court with you? I'll be there. Go back and watch it. That's what he says. And then ask yourself, whose side is he really on? Go back and listen to it again with an open mind. Go back and look at it from Summer's eyes. Go back and look at it from Michael's eyes. Go back and look at it from Lena's eyes. Go back and look at it from any missing child's eyes. And then ask yourself again, is this going to help find me? And if the answer is no, don't click the link. I love you guys. Good night.